Comedy was.
When did you start pursuing it full time? How many years in were you?
So when I'm like 19, 18, I'm doing it once every few months. But once I was 20, I just every night didn't stop going. You know what I mean? Like just fuck it, like full blast. You
Yeah.
know? Because I think that's when I finally got like a laugh.
Do you remember the joke?
Yeah, it wasn't even a joke. It was like just a reaction to the dude in the crowd, man. And that was like my first hard lesson in comedy. I went up at a place called Backdoor Comedy where you have to be clean, which shout out to them. I feel like that's the place that really made me love comedy because you can't even talk about like the restroom. So I feel like that forced me to really write. You know what I mean? Get creative.
Right.
I'm not a clean.
Instead of taking the easier way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a clean comic now. I feel like there's no set style I want to have. Like if there's a joke that's dirty or cuss words, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If it's funny, it's funny. But that room, I was so nervous. I was like, I gotta be clean. And it took place. The show, the little tiny. It's not even a club. It's just a room that used to be located inside the Hilton DoubleTree. And the audience that would show for they'd get a real audience for the mic. But it was kind of like classier, uppity folk, a lot of white people with money, which intimidated the fuck out of me. I was never used to leaving my own little circle. And as I was walking up to the stage, there was this dude, this like older white guy in a button down. He had his arms crossed. And that guy just scared the shit out of me. I had a neighbor who every time I walked by his house, if he happened to see me or just kids, he'd stare really hard. Like, I'm pretty sure he was a little racist, you know? He'd just stare, like, making sure we didn't take nothing from his yard. He'd just stare. He didn't care if you saw him. He had a glass door. He would stand behind the glass door just like fucking staring hard. And he looked like that guy to me. So as I walked up, I just looked at that guy. I didn't think about my jokes. I didn't think about nothing. I was like, man, this dude looks like he caught the cops on me already. And the audience laughed. And the first lesson was like, just fucking, you know, say what you're going to say. Be vulnerable, be honest.
Yeah.
And that was like my first little lesson. Like, it worked, you know?
So then you start feeling it.
Yeah. After I got that laugh, it wasn't even like a huge laugh where they're going to clap, but it was a laugh. But you know, that first time you get a laugh, it feels like you just destroyed the room. Like,
yeah.
And after that, I'd get a little better. I was able to deliver for a minute, and then I was able to deliver for 2. And they'd give you 3 minutes at that mic. So then 2 minutes would go good, and then 3, and then I'd have like a killer 3. Linda Stogner, the owner of that place, started letting me host the weekends with just 3 minutes.
Ooh.
But it's like a showcase style room, and there's tons of comics. The show would go on for like 2 hours, and there's just so many comics. And you know, I'd take it. I'd host for 3 minutes, and then the next fucking 2 hours, just, you know, I'd do my 3-minute set, and then the next 2 hours just host. You know, remember people's credits, whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I loved it, man. I also just love going to different clubs. I feel like Dallas was too small of a scene for people to click up, but they did. They'd be like, nah, that's a Hyenas comic, or that's a Dallas Comedy Club comic. And
really?
And then, you know, Dallas Comedy Club was maybe where you'd go if you were a little more like on the woke side. Not necessarily too woke, but, you know, you were a little cleaner, a little friendlier. Hyenas was where you'd go if you just wanted to say some shit, get a little more raunchy. Backdoor was definitely like where I feel like a lot of good fucking like comics would go on the weekend. Sometimes people would just pop in because they'd happen to have some extra time on the weekend. But I liked going to all of them, man, because all of them you had shit to learn. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's good to get a variety in. It's so silly to think of yourself as I'm a this club comic. Guess we kind of used to do that with the Comedy Store. But even then, it's like you still did.
Even at the Comedy
spots.
Store, I've seen. I mean, I've never lived in LA, but I've been in there tons of times just to watch and shit, you know? Mm-hmm. Even there, you get a variety of comics who have different styles. And that's what I fucking love. There's this Bruce Lee movie. I don't remember the movie, but I saved the video. I have like screen recorded on my phone. And sometimes I watch it on the plane when it's airplane mode. I have the video where he's talking to like, you know, like a grandmaster type dude. And he's questioning Bruce Lee. And that one quote, I feel like just applies so much to not only comedy, but everything. He asked Bruce Lee, he's like, what is the highest technique you hope to achieve? And Bruce Lee's like, to have no technique. I was like, bro, that's fucking it right there. Like that's the thing, you know what I mean? To be like, I get it. A clean comic is a clean comic, and they're funny, whatever, right? Some people only want clean comedy, and a dirty comic is funny as fuck. Some people only want that. But to be able to do everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to not subject yourself to one style of comedy, like that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. That's the beauty of having to do like a clean set for television. Is that you do have to work on it, and you have to. And sometimes when you're working on stuff like that, it's a good exercise in being locked into a rigid structure where you can't talk about blowjobs, you can't talk about anything crazy. You have like a FCC set of rules or whatever it is. When you do that, it forces you to think of alternative ways for things to be funny other than going to like a cheap laugh.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes cheap laughs are the funniest, though. That's the problem. Like Joey Diaz, like he's got great punchlines, but great timing. But it's also he will go for it wherever it is. He doesn't give a. It's just like, what is the funniest fucking thing to say right now? I'm going for that.
Yeah.
Like there's no thought of like Joey would never do a clean TV set.
Yeah.
It would be hell. Like you can't do that to Joey. Like Joey's got to be wild, and like for him to be locked into a TV set, that's not the way for him. But also for him, he's the funniest. I've never seen anybody funnier in my life. In all the people I've seen murder, all the Chappelle and Chris Rock and Shane Gillis and all the murderers. Joey Diaz in the original room at like 11:30 p.m. on a fucking Wednesday night or something like that has made me laugh harder than anybody. Anybody. I mean, there was like 6-7 comics in the back room at one point in time. He was doing this bit about Terry Crews, about that agent who grabbed Terry Crews's dick.
Yeah.
And Terry Crews with his shaking his big dick in his underwear in those commercials that he did. This guy was going crazy. Bro, we were falling on the ground laughing. We couldn't breathe. He hits RPMs. You know, like a lot of people redline at like 7,000, 8,000. It's really funny. It's great. But Joey gets to like 9. Like, and you're like, holy shit, man.
I've never got to see him live, but I want to.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. He still has it. He came to the mothership.
Yeah.
He only did one show.
I love people like that, too, that are funny as fuck on stage and off stage.
Oh, well, that was the thing about Joey. Is like when I brought him on the road, for 2 reasons. One, because I love him. And 2, because he's really funny and it challenges me. Like I was going on after him. But also, he's funny all the time. Like he's funny when you're at dinner. He's funny in the green room. It's a party. Joey brings the party. So when we would all go on the road together, it was just fun. It was family together, you know, like fucking Vin Diesel would say, the family. But it was like that. It was like we're good friends. So we're just having a great time. You know, me and Ari and Duncan and Joey, and we're in these different fucking towns, but it's always us. So we're always laughing.